The Tour de France is the world's biggest cycling event where the fastest riders in the world come to battle it out. Last year, the 3,405 kilometre route was completed at an incredible average speed of 41.4 kilometres per hour. That's 25.7 mile an hour. So, if you're looking to go faster or further on your bike, then you might think that there's some things that you can copy off the Tour de France pros. But there's also plenty of things that we think you shouldn't. Here's 10 of them. Unfortunately, it's very unlikely that us mere mortals are travelling at anything like the same speed as the pros. We'll blame that one on not having a nice peloton sit in, shall we? This year, most of the pros are running massive 54-tooth chainrings, but the team mechanics actually changed them in between stages to best suit the terrain. The pros want to be in the middle of the cassette block for the majority of the race, as this is the most efficient chainline, and hence they're not losing watts. Copying the pros' gearing in the real world is a surefire way to either blow up your knees or have a horrendously inefficient chainline. Instead, most of us amateur road riders will be better suited with a compact group set, something like a 48-35 or 50-34 tooth chain set. On a flat road, there's two main things slowing you down: aerodynamics and rolling resistance. Now, the easiest way to reduce your rolling resistance is by switching to a set of faster tyres. For example, you can see here that Pogacar and his UAE Team Emirates team are using Continental's GP5000 TT tyre. The problem with tyres like this is they're not only more prone to puncturing, but they also don't last very long at all. Usually less than half the time of an all-rounder tyre. Now, if you're a very rich cycling team looking for every marginal gain, then that might well be worth it. But with the current eye-watering prices of tyres, we'd recommend giving up a few watts in the name of durability. After all, we don't have a team car following us around if we do get caught out by the puncture fairy. Look around the Tour de France peloton in 2024 and you'll see two things: Shimano Dura-Ace group sets and SRAM Red AXS group sets. Both are very good, and you can find our full comparison between them in the description below. However, when building our own bikes, we wouldn't actually spend our own money on either of them. No, it's not because we're die-hard Campagnolo fans, but rather because the lower spec group sets are just so much better value. Take the 12-speed Ultegra group set, for example. You won't find it being used in this year's Tour, but it's only about 200 grams heavier than Dura-Ace, has exactly the same motors and all the other tech, and yet costs over £1,000 less. Just to put that weight difference into perspective, it's less than two medium-sized bananas. For some reason or another, this year's Tour de France is absolutely inundated with white bar tape, presumably for reasons of fashion and panache. I have to admit it does look really rather good. However, from personal experience, I'd recommend not trying this one at home. When I tried it, I got some lovely comments on the first few rides, and then lo and behold, it got ruined by road spray. No amount of cleaning could bring it back, and after a few months, I gave in and went back to black. You might think that all you need to ride as fast as the pros is the same bike, and we are quite lucky that, unlike in other sports, you can, for a price, buy the exact same equipment being used by the world's best. Chances are, though, this probably isn't the most sensible purchase. In fact, there's a whole host of bikes that are more suitable for the majority of us than the race machines that the uber flexible pros use. For example, Team Movistar and De Koenig Quickstep riders will be using a bike just like this Canyon Ultimate CFR in the Tour de France. However, rather than just copying the pros, another bike in the range, such as the Endurace, is likely better suited to most amateur riders. An endurance bike like this one is still performance focused, lightweight, and has top-end components. The main difference being it's higher at the front end, which will probably mean that us mere mortals can ride it in more comfort and for longer. Now, before we dive into the final 5 things not to copy, remember to subscribe to the channel if you've been enjoying it so far. It really does help us out, and we've got lots more cool cycling tech to show you. I am a fan of Aero, but the 2024 Tour de France has seen some seriously bizarre tech created in the pursuit of cheating the wind. Things that, unless you want to get some rather odd looks, are probably left to the pros. How about this $300 Aero beak, for example, that sprinter Dylan Groenewegen was spotted using, and won a stage using? It's probably enough to get you laughed out of your local cycling club though. I know my riding buddies would never let me live that one down. Taping up your boas like Cav, also probably best not copying. Or how about this TT style POC helmet, complete with visor that EF team have been wearing? Let us know your thoughts on that down in the comments below. Now this one I just know is going to be controversial, and to be fair, there is a few exceptions to the rule. For example, if you live somewhere really mountainous. Most of us don't live in a mountainous terrain though. For example, I live in the Mendip Hills in the UK. It is quite hilly, but I know that sacrificing a few extra grams to get something more aerodynamic is well worth it if I want to go as fast as possible. The pros take on some of the hardest climbs in the world, so of course they're going to try and shave every gram and ride bikes like this Villia Verticale, a bike that is right on the 6.8 kilo UCI weight limit. Personally though, I would much rather ride something like this Villia Volante. Yes, it's a few hundred grams heavier, but I don't think that this will make the foggiest bit of difference. Are you team aero or team lightweight? Let us know down below. If you were to pull apart the bikes of the pros, then on nearly all of them, you'd find ceramic bearings residing in the bottom bracket, the wheels, and even the headsets. Ceramic bearings claim to be the best of the best, but quite often this performance comes at a premium. Here's an example. Take Hunt's latest sub 50 wheels. They'll set you back £1,849 with steel bearings and a whopping £440 more for the same wheels with ceramic bearings. This might save you a few watts out the box, but A, it's not a very cost-effective upgrade. B, bearing maintenance will reap far larger rewards than the fancy ones, and C, that money is probably much better spent elsewhere. Over the past few years, there's been a shift from just a few sprinters using integrated cockpits to a very large proportion of the Tour de France peloton. Integrated cockpits look absolutely great and are probably a tiny bit faster too. However, for adjustments, they're not so good. Now, if you're a Tour de France pro, then you'll have a whole team of people analysing your position, bike fits multiple times a year, and access to an unlimited supply of very, very expensive cockpits. For most of us though, we don't get all of that. We often need to find a more fit and forget solution. Not to mention that some brands don't even offer the same widths and lengths of cockpits to consumers as they do to the pros. Comfort is key for most of us, not only to enjoy cycling to the full, but also to be fast, which is more likely to be on a conventional bar and stem. Professional cycling takes quite some fueling, and riders in the Tour de France will be consuming upwards of around 6,000 calories a day. This will be made up of gels, high carb energy drinks, and the pros' old favourite of rice cakes. Fueling is just as important for us amateurs, although we'd recommend not ingesting quite the same quantity of gels and energy powder in your drinks. The pros have spent years optimising their fueling strategies, building up their carb intake, and ensuring that they can get enough calories down in as short a time as possible. If we tried to eat the same as a pro, then all what would happen is we'd feel very sick and potentially regret it even more the day after. If you really want to copy a pro, then build up your carb intake over time and never try something new on event day. Let us know whether you agree or disagree with my choices down in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this content, then please give it a like, subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with all of our cycling tech during the Tour de France and beyond, and we'll see you next time.